Jai Hind friends, last time we have discussed about directional derivative. Directional derivative was rate of change of a function in a specified direction. Now we are going to understand what is the maximum value of directional derivative. Mathematically, directional derivative was grad phi dot a cap, where a cap is the direction in which directional derivative is required. Now we observe that this directional derivative is dot product of these two vectors. The dot product of two vectors is maximum when these two vectors are parallel, and therefore vector A and grad phi must be in same direction to ensure maximum value of directional derivative. Thus, maximum value of directional derivative occurs in the direction of grad of phi. If we calculate its value, then its value will come out to be mod of del phi, that is, maximum magnitude of directional derivative of phi is mod of del phi. It is also greatest rate of increase of phi and again mod of del phi. Thus, whenever we are required to find maximum value of directional derivative, then we need to calculate mod of del phi. If we are to calculate greatest rate of increase of phi, then same value mod of del phi will be calculated. We take an example. Find the greatest rate of increase of phi xyz equals x square yz plus 4xz square at 1 minus 2 1. This function phi is given, and we want to find greatest rate of increase of this function phi at this point 1 minus 2 1. We know that greatest rate of increase of phi will be nothing but mod of del phi, and therefore I need to calculate gradient of this function phi and then its magnitude at this point, and that value will be the greatest rate of increase of phi. Therefore, I have taken phi as this function. We are now trying to calculate del phi. Del phi is gradient of phi, that is I del by del x plus j del by del y plus k del by del z of this, because phi is this function. Now these operators will be operated on this function. By applying del by del x on this expression, I obtain 2xyz from first term, 4z square for second term. Operating del upon del y over this, I obtain x square z, and similarly third term will be this. This is the value of gradient of phi. This gradient of phi is to be calculated at this point, because we are interested in finding rate of change, greatest rate of change at this point, and therefore putting x equal to 1, y equal to minus 2 and z equal to 1 in this expression, I shall be able to find grad phi at this particular point. Substituting, x becomes 1, y becomes minus 2, z becomes 1, and similarly in other terms. Simplification leads to this term minus 4, this is plus 4, this is 1, and this is minus 2 plus 8, and simplification gives j plus 6k cap, which is the value of grad phi at this point. Now I want to calculate greatest rate of increase of phi, and that is nothing but mod of del phi, and therefore mod of this vector j plus 6k cap is required. Modulus of vector, we recall that it was a1 square plus a2 square plus a3 square whole square root if a1, a2, a3 are components of the vector, and therefore it will be 1 square plus 6 square, and it will become nothing but root 37. It is the required greatest rate of increase of phi. let me sum up once again. This function phi was given. We are looking for greatest rate of increase of this function. First I calculated grad of phi. Then this grad phi was calculated at given point. Calculating its value, the value so obtained was gradient of phi. Its magnitude was taken, and this magnitude, which is root 37, is the greatest rate of increase of phi at given point. Now we move towards another important idea of vector calculus. This is the concept of divergence of a vector function. The divergence of a vector point function f is denoted by div f and is defined as below. If f is f1 I cap plus f2 j cap plus f3 k cap, then divergence of f is nothing but del dot f. Del was this operator I del over del x plus j cap del over del y plus k cap del over del z. F is this vector f1 I cap plus f2 j cap plus f3 k cap. Taking dot product of two vectors, I obtain del f1 by del x plus del f2 by del y plus del f3 by del z. Thus, if f is a vector function, then its divergence is this expression del f1 over del x plus del f2 over del y plus del f3 over del z. We can see here that this value has no I, j and k, means this is a scalar value, and therefore divergence f is a scalar function. In previous topic, when we have studied gradient, then we have seen that the original function f or phi was a scalar function, but the value of gradient was a vector function. In divergence, this function f is vector function and the value is a scalar function. That is, gradient was converting a scalar function to vector function, but divergence is converting a vector function to a scalar function. Now we take what is physical meaning of divergence. Physically, the divergence of a vector quantity represents the rate of change of the field strength in the direction of the field. Details. If the divergence of the vector field is positive at a point, it means something is diverging from a small volume surrounding that point. If it is negative, then something is converging into the small volume surrounding that point. And if the divergence at a point is 0, then the rate at which something is entering in a small volume surrounding that point is equal to the rate at which it is leaving that volume. We can understand with the help of figure also. In first figure, there is point P and arrows are pointing outwards from this point P, means something is emerging from that point P, and therefore in this case divergence is positive. In second figure, arrows are pointing towards point P, coming inwards, and in this case something is converging to the point P, and in this case the divergence will be negative. In third figure, rate of inflow and rate of outflow both are same, and in this case the divergence is 0. To visualize, we can take one more example. Suppose I have water filled in this tank, and this water is going to this bucket through this pipe. For this tank, because fluid is emerging out, going outside, and therefore divergence is positive. For this bucket, because fluid is entering, converging to this bucket, and therefore divergence is negative. If we consider this pipe, then rate of inflow and rate of outflow both are same, and therefore the divergence is 0 for this pipe. Now we take an example that how can we find divergence of the vector function. This function f x z cube I cap minus 2x square yz j cap plus 2y z to the power 4 k cap is given, and we are interested in finding divergence of this vector function. Here f is given as this function, and we are looking for divergence of f. Divergence of f, as we have already discussed, is nothing but del dot f. Del dot f means del f1 over del x plus del f2 over del y plus del f3 over del z. Here f1, f2 and f3 are components of this vector f, that is f is being compared with f1 I cap plus f2 j cap plus f3 k cap. Here value of f1 is xz cube, therefore del upon del x of xz cube. Value of f2 is this term, therefore del upon del y of minus 2x square yz plus del upon del z of third term 2yz raised to the power 4. This is partial differentiation with respect to x, so it gives z cube. This is partial differentiation with respect to y, so this del upon del x of xz cube was z cube, del upon del y of second term was this, and del upon del z of this term gives 8y z to the power 3. Thus, the value of divergence f for this function is here z cube minus 2x square z plus 8yz cube. Now, we understand what is solenoidal vector field. The vector field whose divergence is 0 is called solenoidal vector field. We take an example. Show that this vector v is equals to 3y to the power 4 z square I cap plus 4 x cube z square j cap minus 3x square y square k cap is solenoidal. This vector field is given, and we want to show that this field is solenoidal. What I shall do? I shall calculate divergence of that field. If divergence comes out to be 0, then field will be solenoidal. Here v is equals to 3y raised to the power 4 z square I cap plus 4x cube z square j cap minus 3x square y square k cap. If del dot v equals to 0, then v will be solenoidal. I am now calculating del dot v. Del dot v will be del v1 over del x plus del v2 over del y plus del v3 over del z, where v1, v2 and v3 are components of this vector function v. Therefore, v1 will be this term, that is coefficient of I. Thus, first term gives del upon del x of 3y raised to the power 4 z square. Second terms gives del upon del y of 4x cube z square. Third terms gives del upon del z of this. Because first term having it becomes 0. In second term there is no term having y, therefore partial derivative will again become 0. In third term there is no term having z, and therefore this term will again become 0, that is del dot v comes out to be 0. Del dot v equal to 0 means vector v is solenoidal, and which we were going to show. What I have done? This vector v was given to us, in fact vector function, and we were willing to show that it is solenoidal vector function. I have calculated its divergence. Divergence came out to be 0, and it proved that this function v is solenoidal. Now we understand what is curl. The curl of a vector point function f is defined as below. Curl f is equals to del cross f. We know that del is this operator I cap del over del x plus j cap del over del y plus k cap del over del z. F can be taken as f1 I cap plus f2 j cap plus f3 k cap because it is a vector function. Therefore, del cross f takes this form. Now, it is cross product. We know that if we are having two vectors, then their cross product can be written in the form of a determinant also. Following same pattern here, this cross product can be written as I cap, j cap, k cap in first row, del over del x, del over del y, del over del z in second row, and f1, f2, f3 in third row. Expanding this determinant, I shall obtain the value of the curl of a vector function. It is obvious that curl is a vector quantity because this result is having I, j and k, and obviously this is a vector quantity. Thus, we have seen three quantities till now. One was gradient, second was divergence, third was curl. In gradient, a scalar function was converted to a vector function. In divergence, a vector function was converted to scalar function, and in case of curl, a vector function is converted to another vector function. Now, we take an example how to calculate curl of a vector function. Find the curl of this function f xy I cap plus y square j cap plus xz k cap at this point minus 2, 4, 1. This function f is given and we are interested in finding its curl at this point minus 2, 4, 1. F is this function. Curl of a vector field is del cross f, which can be written in the form of determinant I, j, k in first row, del over del x, del over del y, del over del z in second row, and f1, f2, f3 components of f in third row. This will be most used formula to calculate curl. Now, components of f are replaced in place of f1, f2 and f3. This determinant will now be expanded. I cap del over del y of xz minus del over del z of y square minus j cap del over del x of xz minus del over del z of xy plus k cap del over del x of y square minus del over del y of xy. This term not having y, so 0. This term is not having z, again 0. This term gives z. Next term gives 0. And similarly, third term, this is the value of curl of f for given function. But we were looking value of curl at this point minus 2, 4, 1, and therefore I shall substitute x equals to minus 2, y equal to 4 and z equal to 1 in this expression. This z will be 1, so it gives minus j cap, and next term gives plus 2 k cap, which is required value of curl. What I have done? This vector function was given. We were looking for the curl of this function at this point. I calculated curl f by using its formula. Determinant was evaluated and the point was substituted to get the required value of curl. Now we move towards physical meaning of curl. Curl represents physically, but what? Curl measures the extent of rotation of the field about a point. We understand it with an example. Imagine placing a pedal wheel into a fluid at point P with the axis of the pedal wheel aligned with the curl vector. Then the curl measures the tendency of the pedal wheel to rotate. Higher tendency of rotation means curl has higher value. Less tendency of rotation, then curl has lower value. And if there is no tendency of rotation at all, then in this case the curl will be 0. And it gives our next definition, irrotational field. A field is said to be irrotational if its curl is 0. It is motivated by the previous explanation which I have made here. Thus, this term will be used very frequently. If a vector field f has its curl as 0, then such a field is called irrotational vector field. We take an example of irrotational vector field. Example says, find the constants a, b and c, of course these are scalars, so that this vector f, x plus 2y plus az I cap plus bx minus 3y minus z j cap plus 4x plus cy plus 2z k cap is irrotational. To find the values of a, b and c, given that this vector function f is irrotational, what I shall do? I shall calculate del cross f, curl f, and that curl f will be equated to 0. The value of curl f when equating to 0 will give 3 equations, and solving those equations I shall obtain the values of a, b and c. We are calculating curl f, del cross f. By the formula of curl previously discussed, del cross f will be I, j, k in first row, del over del x, del over del y, del over del z in second row. F1 means coefficient of I here, F2 coefficient of j here, F3 means coefficient of k in third term. Now this determinant will be evaluated. I cap, del over del y of this term will give simply c, because 4x and 2z will be 0 on differentiation. Del upon del z of this will give 1, these two terms will give 0, and it will become c plus 1 I cap. Similarly, del upon del x of this will give 4, del upon del z of this will give a, and third term on same pattern will be b minus 2 k cap. Now, because f is irrotational, therefore del cross f will be a 0 vector. This 0 vector is on right hand side. Del cross f is replaced from its value calculated in previous slide, c plus 1 I cap minus 4 minus a j cap plus b minus 2 k cap. Because this 0 vector is 0 I cap plus 0 j cap plus 0 k cap, I can compare coefficients of I cap, j cap and k cap, and it gives c plus 1 equals 0, 4 minus a equals 0, b minus 2 equal to 0, and I obtain a equal to 4, b equals to 2 and c equals to minus 1. What is done? This vector function was given. We are supposed to find the constants a, b and c where f is irrotational. I calculated curl f. This curl f was equated to 0. Coefficients of I, j and k were compared, and comparing I obtained values of a, b and c. Now we move towards next important idea, and that is the concept of line integral. Let us first understand that what line integral means, what actually we are going to do in line integral. Suppose we have a curve. We want to calculate line integral of some function for this curve. Line integral will always be calculated over a curve. Actually in usual definite integral, we are calculating integral over x-axis. Here it can be any curve in plane or even space. If we have a function defined on a curve, then to find line integral, break up the curve into tiny line segments. These line segments, small line segments, in all these line segments the curve is broken. Multiply the length of the line segments by the function value on the segment. Add up all these products. Take limit as the length of the line segments approaches 0. The value so obtained is called the line integral of the function over the curve. What I have explained, a curve is given, a function is given, break the curve into small pieces, take a point inside each small piece, find the value of the function at that point and multiply it by the length of the line segment obtained here, and add all these products taking this length to be approaching to 0, and the quantity so obtained is called line integral of the function. Now we take its formal definition. Let f(x,y,z) be a scalar function defined on a curve C of finite length. Then line integral of f(x,y,z) along C is denoted by this symbol, integral over C f(x,y,z) ds, and it is equals to limit n tends to infinity I equals 1 to n f xi yi zi times delta si. Now this is the concept of line integral of a scalar function. Then how we define, if we have a vector function, then how we define its line integral? Let us see. Let f(x,y,z) be a vector function and C be a curve. Then line integral of vector function f along the curve C is defined as integral of the component of f along the tangent to the curve C. Means, if we want to define line integral of a vector function along the curve C, then what we'll do? We will find component of the vector function along the tangent to the curve C, and its scalar line integral will be the vector line integral for given function. Thus line integral becomes integral over C f dot dr upon ds, that is written as integral over C f dot dr. We will use this suffix C to specify that the integral is being evaluated over this curve C. This f dot dr will be the integrand obtained from the given function f. Sometimes when we are sure or we are informed that this curve C is closed, then we shall make a small circle crossing this integral sign, and it will indicate that this integral is taken along a closed curve. Now we understand what line integral represent or what line integral gives. The line integral over C f dot dr represents the work done by a variable force f in moving a particle along the curve C. That is, suppose I have a variable force and this variable force moves a particle along some curve, and I calculate integral over C f dot dr for that force f, then this value will give the work done by that force in moving that particle along the curve C. This is the formula for work done. It is integral over C f dot dr. Today we have discussed directional derivative, we have studied divergence, we have understood curl, and we have also introduced the concept of line integral. We will take some examples to understand line integral more, and how can we calculate the work done with the help of line integral, what different situations can be there to find line integral. These issues will be discussed in next lecture, and till then, thank you.